One of the most important things being a business owner has taught me that also applies to motherhood is that there's no way to be good at it out the gate. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Millennial Mama Memo, a weekly memo from your favorite Millennial Mama therapist. I'm Lauren, a late diagnosed ADHDer, mom of two, licensed therapist, and founder of Millennial Mama Therapy. I built this space for moms just like me who are figuring out who they are on the other side of becoming a mom. I work with moms all throughout California, and I also host 2 free virtual support groups for moms everywhere. If you're new here, hi, I'm so glad that you found me. And if you're a regular, welcome back. Let's get into it. Happy Monday, my friends. Welcome back to another week. This is the last Monday in June, which is crazy. We are just flying through summer. I don't know how to feel about the fact that we are now facing down July. I just feel like this year has gone so fast. And I know that just kind of happens every single year. Christmas and New Year's are about 6 months away. In my family of origin, we have a ton of birthdays in the last quarter of the year. And so pretty much as soon as the September birthdays hit, I'm just like, okay, here we are, like buckle up for the ride. We may as well be in January, February, because the next several months are spoken for between birthdays, holiday commitments, and everything that creates in terms of school commitments and events, work things. Oh my goodness gracious, it's so busy. Anyway, just a little bit of an off the cuff random sharing of things that are on my brain as I am recording. Okay, let's get into the Millennial Mama mix. This is a little bit of everything on my radar as a mom and a millennial person. And today I just wanted to share a little bit about what I've learned about motherhood from being a business owner. First thing that I want to say is I never imagined being a business owner. When I first decided that I wanted to become a therapist and went to school for therapy, didn't really have an idea of what that looked like. I truthfully never went to therapy until I started grad school as a part of my requirement for my grad program, which phenomenal. Honestly, if your grad program doesn't require you to go to therapy, I would consider a different grad program if you are planning to become a therapist or a social worker or anything like that. I just knew that I wanted to help people. But a little bit of a lore drop here. I didn't grow up in the States. I spent most of my childhood living in Europe as well as in Asia. And so I didn't really have an idea of what the career landscape looked like in mental health. I just knew that I wanted to help people. But it's kind of interesting because in therapy world, we say, oh, I'm in private practice, but I don't know about any other therapist. It took forever for me to realize, oh, being in private practice is owning a small business and being a business owner. So part of the journey of being in private practice has been coming to adapt my mindset to realize, hey, I am also a business owner. And it's actually been kind of interesting as I have also been in this path of being a mom. And honestly, my business owner and motherhood paths really coincide. I say all the time, I was a therapist before I became a mom, but I didn't specialize in working with moms until I became a mom. One of the most important things that being a business owner has taught me that also applies to motherhood is that there's no way to be good at it out the gate. When you start out as a business owner, there's really no way to be good at it. When you start out as a mom, there's really no way to be good at it because cognitively, you can learn and understand and have some levels of being able to predict. But the actual experience, the somatic experience, the emotional experience, like how you're going to react to different circumstances, you have no idea what that's going to look like. When I'm working with clients, I sometimes use the example of watching The Wizard of Oz on a black and white television. Like you can know she's got ruby red slippers. There's the yellow brick road. There's the Emerald City. It's super, super colorful. But if you're watching it on a black and white television, even when you arrive at the part of the movie where things change into Technicolor, you're not going to see that. You're not going to experience that. It's still going to look black and white. And then becoming a mom, becoming a business owner, like actually doing it, the rubber meets the road, that is like suddenly watching it on an 8K 100-inch massive TV. And you're like, oh my God, those ruby red slippers are really ruby red. That yellow brick road is really yellow. That Emerald City, man, it's really green. And maybe you're not even watching like The Wizard of Oz. Maybe you're watching Wicked. Being a business owner has taught me that to be good at being a business owner requires lots of practice and lots of failure. It requires lots of trying things out experimenting and seeing what works, seeing how things feel, and then going back to the drawing board. And motherhood is honestly the same. It requires a lot of practice. It requires lots of failure, lots of trying again. And that's hard because if there's something that we want to be good at right out the gate, it's being moms. We want to give our kids the best of us, the best lives we possibly can. And the fact of the matter is, we can give them such beautiful, wonderful, amazing things. And we also need to practice. As soon as that baby is in our lives, that's our very first time being a mom. And even if we have subsequent kids, that's still our first time being a mom to that baby. And our firstborns, especially, like every single one of their firsts is also our firsts as a mom. Like with my younger daughter, I will always have the benefit of the experiences I had with my older daughter, even if they are completely different kiddos, which they very much are. But I have a different context. So, for example, bit of a vulnerable share here. When my second daughter was born, my older daughter was 2.5. I was on medication for my anxiety. I didn't realize that was going to make my ADHD symptoms significantly worse because one, I did not know I had ADHD. And two, my anxiety was really compensating for my ADHD. My anxiety was keeping me focused on track, making sure that I got the good grades, assignments turned in on time, and things like that. So when the medication helped my anxiety reduce, suddenly I did not have this big tool that was a reason for why I was able to cope and compensate. And also on top of that, suddenly having two babies who needed me and feeling pulled in so many opposite directions, like it was just incredibly overwhelming and overstimulating. And so I had so much guilt after my second daughter was born because I had moments where I genuinely felt like I didn't like my older daughter, not because of anything related to her. I was just like, what is wrong with me that I don't like her? And right now in the present, my younger daughter is the same age that my older daughter was when her baby sister was born. And looking at them and the experiences that I'm having right now, I can go, okay, back then had nothing to do with my older daughter and who she was. It had everything to do with the developmental stage that she was at, which was that she's 2.5. She is highly independent. She thinks she knows how to handle everything, but the truth is she doesn't. And there's also a lot of developmental leaps and developmental changes and all of that sort of stuff. So hindsight is 2020. And now going through so many things for a second time with my younger daughter, I'm able to understand and better interpret things that I experienced my first time around. Of course, dealing with my older daughter was so challenging when I had a baby and I didn't know I had ADHD. And so I didn't know how to compensate and support myself in that. And also my older daughter was at a really challenging developmental stage. Again, it has nothing to do with her. And it honestly didn't have anything to do with me at my core of who I am as a mom. It had everything to do with these kind of environmental, developmental, biological circumstances that we were in. So there is no way to be good at motherhood out the gate. You are going to practice and fail and learn and try again. And you will notice what you're quote unquote bad at before you notice what you're good at. It's kind of like the Enneagram. I talked about the Enneagram a couple of weeks ago. And as you go through the process of figuring out your typing, a lot of the Enneagram scholars out there will tell you that one of the first signs that you're honing in on your type is when you read something and you go, ooh, and maybe have a little bit of like a shame response, because it is so much easier for us to notice what we feel ashamed about or what we are bad at versus the things that we are good at versus our skills and our strengths. So I kind of want to just put that bit of gentleness and caveat in there that if you feel like you're a bad mom, chances are you're not. You are just noticing things that you're not good at yet because you care about being good at what you're doing. And as humans, it's just easier for us to notice what we're bad at first. I also want to give you a bit of encouragement though, because as time goes on and as you intentionally observe and learn from the things that you're struggling with or that you are practicing or you have tried and didn't go well, you will begin to also notice what is working. I've been working with my business coach, Tracy Stanger, for, over a year now. And in a lot of ways, just now am I starting to see all of the pieces come together from what she's been teaching me and coaching me on. Her approach to business is all about finding your most you way of doing it, meaning doesn't matter what works for somebody else. You have to figure out what works for you, for your life, for your brain, for your finances, your needs, how you're wired, what works for you. And a lot of times it starts with also learning what didn't work. And instead of allowing like a sense of failure there, really working to go, hey, this is just information. This is data points. So yeah, if you've been around and following me for a while, then you'll probably notice that there's been a lot of changes around here at Millennial Mama Therapy. One of the things obviously is this podcast, but I've also been changing up some of the things that I offer and changing up like the names of things and branding and stuff like that. And all of that is what I dreamed about when I very first started my practice. But at that time, I couldn't have known what I wanted my business to look like. I needed to go through figuring out what didn't work in order to figure out what worked. And honestly, I think that is just so true with motherhood. It's okay to grow and change and get better at our craft, whether it is a business, whether it is a hobby, or whether it is motherhood. So, this week on the favorites folder, I want to share with you a book that was recommended to me by my good friend and colleague, Heather Whitford. So, the ADHD Field Guide for Adults is written by Kate Osborne and Eric Good. And I'm going to just read a little quick, snippet about it. It's a practical, accessible guide for neurodivergent adults designed to be read non-linearly with bite-sized information on managing ADHD, including topics like comorbidities, relationships, and the healthcare system. So I have been listening to this as an audiobook, and I actually highly recommend it because it's read by Kate and Eric. And it almost feels a little bit more like a podcast in some ways. And it is super, super bite sized, ADHD friendly, very, very validating about the experience of being an adult with ADHD and likely being a late diagnosed adult. Because, especially, with women, there is a huge pattern of us being diagnosed as adults. Like I shared a little bit ago, my unmasking event that completely broke my masking skills, my tools and my things that I've been using to compensate unknowingly was becoming a mom and specifically adding in my second child and adding in my second child while I was also on anxiety medication and no longer had my anxiety to compensate for my ADHD. So anyway, I have just found it a very, very affirming, supportive read. Like I said, the audiobook has been really friendly to listen to while I'm driving around or doing things. I just highly recommend it. Like I said, my friend and colleague Heather was absolutely raving about it. So then once I dove into it, I was like, oh my God, this is so good. I need to tell all of my online friends about it. So shifting into Pink Couch Post-its for the week, these are updates, hot takes, and things worth knowing from the Millennial Mama universe. Going back to what I was saying earlier about that we grow and change and get better at our craft as we go. One of the ways that you can see that here at Millennial Mama Therapy is that I am officially rebranding my resourcing calls to be called Matchmaker Hours. And the reason why I did this is in part because of my match framework. Again, that idea that I approach everything that I do through 5 lenses of being a mom, an advocate, a therapist, a coach, and a human. And then 2, I also love matchmaking. I am a connector in the Malcolm Gladwell sense, meaning that I love having these big networks of people that I can help connect. It's like putting together a puzzle. It just brings my pattern centered, puzzle loving ADHD brain so much joy to hear someone describe a thing that they're needing and go, you know what? I have just the person, the thing, the service, the recommendation, whatever that you need. So matchmaker hours are where I get to let that piece of my brain just shine. So what they are is a non-clinical 1 hour phone call with me. They are perfect for especially moms and families here in the local Sacramento area. But again, they're for anyone because they're non-clinical. But they're for anyone who is going, man, I need help. I need support. I need things, but I'm not entirely sure what I need. I'm not sure therapy is right for me. Maybe there's something else. I'm a new mom to be, or I am a new mom and I'm so overwhelmed in newborn world. And I just need some help getting connected with resources. So we get on the call together. We talk about what's going on, what your pain points are. We chat through some of your needs and values in terms of, budget, finances, insurance, etc. And then I get to go to my network and I get to make some recommendations to you. And my goal is also for there to always be a warm handoff, meaning instead of handing you a card and saying, reach out to this person, I reach out to my colleague, to my provider pal and say, hey, I had someone come in for a matchmaker hour and they're looking for blah, blah, blah. And I think you would be a really great fit for that. Do you have room on your caseload? And if they don't, then they can give me recommendations and I can bring those back to you. So, really, the goal is to just try to be this switchboard, this in between, this bridge between moms and parents who need support and providers who are able to offer that support. So, like I said, matchmaker hours, they're the exact same thing as resourcing calls, just the branding is a little bit more fun, a little more me, and I think speaks a little bit more clearly to what it is that these are. I don't have the back end for this set up yet, but eventually I'm going to have it set up that you can purchase these like as a gift for somebody else. So think like for a baby shower or as a, welcome home from the hospital gift. I will let you guys know when the back end for that is set up. But right now it's totally set up to self-book, but yes, the being able to purchase it like as a gift for somebody else, like a gift certificate, that will take some time, but I will let you guys know when that's ready. All right, moving into one last thing. These are all the ways that we can work together. If you're a millennial mom in California, I would love to work with you and to support you. I have 3 ways that I can work with you. One is through my support groups. I have Mama Mess Hall and the Break Room. Mama Mess Hall is for any mom anywhere who is needing support. We have a lot of neurodiverse moms across all stages of motherhood and even grandmotherhood. I actually have grandmas in there and I freaking love it. And then the Break Room is Mama Mess Hall, but it is for moms who have that dual identity of being a mom and also being a helping professional. So maybe you are a nurse, you are a lactation consultant, you are a doula, you are a therapist, you are somebody who is offering support to moms and families. And maybe it feels a bit uncomfortable to show up in spaces in your local community because of the fact that when you show up, you might become the expert in the room. And the next way we can work together is, of course, the matchmaker hours that I was just talking about. So these are ways to get connected with local supports and resources that are specifically aligned with your needs. And then finally, if you want to work with me clinically with ART, Accelerated Resolution Therapy Intensives, the best way to start that is through a consultation call. Consultation calls are available on Wednesdays, and you can go to the link in my bio or in the show notes to self-book. I have 4 intensive slots available starting in July. So if you are interested in working with me through Accelerated Resolution Therapy Intensives, I definitely recommend getting your consultation call scheduled ASAP so we can get you slotted in for July. All right, friends, that's your Millennial Mama memo for the week. Head to the link in my bio to subscribe to my newsletter in case you missed the memo so you never miss the memo. And I'll see you next week.